Hello everyone and welcome. In this video I'll be sharing my thoughts on the latest episode of The Walking Dead Well Beyond. As always is the norm with all my videos, I won't be holding back on any spoilers, so please do keep that in mind. Anyway, without further ado, let's begin. This sure is another episode of The Well Beyond, alright. Dialogue is as terrible as it has been all season. Characters are still talking about the night the sky fell, which just makes me want to chop my ears off. And lines like this are a regular occurrence. Let me just read it off here. So here we go. We can't change the things we've done, but we can find the strength to carry the truth for everyone else, so they don't have to. Why? Please just stop with this melodramatic bullshit. It's terrible. It's awful. I just hate listening to fucking dialogue like that every week. It's just so bad. Anyway, I'm not going to spend any more time complaining about the dialogue because I find that I do that in every single video. This is The Well Beyond. The dialogue is bad, so that's kind of expected by now, so I don't see the point of bringing it up anymore, but there you go. That's just me having a bit of a rant about the dialogue, but it's bad again and I don't want to spend any more time talking about it. So what else is there to talk about from this episode? Well, flashbacks are back again, and I stand by my Scott Gimple skit last week in which Scott said that it was an error on AMC's part in not including them last week, and I completely unironically believe that because we've had 6 out of 7 episodes now that have had flashbacks and last week is the only one, so maybe they just forgot to put them in last week's episode. But yes, flashbacks are back again because of course they are. The flashbacks this week are centered on Huck, and that's because she's the only one of the main protagonists who hasn't had any flashbacks yet. And it shows her at the start of the outbreak as she works for the military. And the first couple of flashbacks are her fighting walkers and trying to take care of the walker outbreak. Until we get to the last flashback in which she's being tasked with killing innocent civilians. Now this scenario with the army being the bad guys isn't exactly anything new. We've seen this so many times before and it's been on tons of other shows as well. But it did remind me of the way the army was in Fear the Walking Dead in the first season, because they were generally dicks in that season when they came and set up the fences and tried to keep everyone safe. And of course Troy's little army, or Troy's little regiment, even whatever you want to call it, in season 3 were also absolute arseholes. So I liked in that sense that it fit in thematically with the rest of the Walking Dead universe because we've already seen that the army are pricks in this universe. Also, one of the soldiers in the Huck's flashback says that he believes that the Walker virus may have been caused by aliens. And I think that might be included as a little Easter egg because I'm sure Robert Kirkman said on Twitter before that space spore or something from space was the reason why walkers were created, and that's how they came about. Whether he was serious or not, I don't know. I don't know the context. I just saw it in an article online, but maybe that's just a nice little Easter egg for fans to hopefully pick up on. Anyway, Huck disobeys orders. She doesn't shoot at civilians. Instead, she turns and shoots all of her colleagues. And then this flashback kind of leads nicely into where she is in the present, in which Hope is taken hostage, and she kills the hostage without sort of hesitation and without any remorse. And yes, you did hear me correctly, I did say that the flashback led nicely into the scene in the present, and I know it's shocking, but I think the flashbacks were actually pretty decent, and I liked how they fit in with what was going on in the present narrative, and it works. It definitely works better than it has done for the rest of the season, in my opinion, anyway. For the record, I still think the flashbacks in this episode were overused and quite predictable because it's obvious that as the episode goes along, it's going to build up to something big, and the first couple of flashbacks are sort of inconsequential, really. It's only when you get to the end that something happens, very predictable and in the same manner that all the flashbacks have been this season, but they did serve their purpose. They weren't just there to fill out time or, fill out the running time of the episode, in my opinion. So Huck kills the person who takes Hope hostage, and Hope is in a state of shock because she thought that Huck was going to disarm the guy and not kill him, and Hope says words to the effect of that she did what had to be done and that Hope should forgive herself. And what she means by this is that Hope should forgive herself for killing Elton's mother because the two had a heart-to-heart about this previously in the episode, and Hope, kind of comes away with it saying, everyone in this world kills. You killed someone, yes, I know it was Elton's mum, but she wasn't exactly a saint, she killed your mum as well. You did what anyone else would have done in that situation, so stop being so harsh on yourself, forgive yourself, we all kill, let's get on with it. And I actually like that. Thank God for Huck. I'm glad that Huck just did what needed to be done, and I'm glad that she didn't sit around crying about it, going, oh, I've killed someone, because in her mind she did it, she had to, the guy was a danger, and she kind of just tells Hope that the same thing, you know, you've dealt with this before, why are you torturing yourself over it, let's just get on with it. And I like that, because I think characters on Fear the Walking Dead, the previous 2 seasons, spent too much time whining about people they'd killed, and we've seen that previously on The Walking Dead when, you know, Carol went into sort of a state of depression in season 7 when she didn't want to see anyone and was counting on the people she killed and blah blah blah. I don't want to see that. We just want to see people who do what they have to do, and that's what I like about Huck. And I just wish that she was in the episode last week, because she would have stabbed Percy in the neck when he came and threatened them. So yeah, I surprisingly liked her this week. I liked the flashbacks, I liked the way she behaved. Surprisingly something good about the world beyond. I mean, she does have bad dialogue, like that line I mentioned earlier about, oh, we have to keep the truth for ourselves or some bollocks. I'm sure that she was the one who said that. So even after she kills the dude, she does spout a bit of crap about, oh no, we have to carry this forward, blah blah blah. And I was kind of like, oh god, don't ruin this moment with terrible dialogue. But it was okay. It was okay. And there was also another moment which I enjoyed from this episode, which I know, 2 positive points in a World Beyond review. I'll have to check that Scott Gimple isn't drugging my tea again. So throughout the episode, Percy is shown as being flirtatious with Iris, and every time he does, we see Silas like giving him this evil look, because it looks like he's jealous, because the two had a little dance, didn't they, a couple of episodes ago, and maybe Silas likes Iris, so he is jealous of Percy. Towards the end of the episode, Percy asks Iris to meet him in like this little romantic spot that he's made for him. It has like pictures of artwork on the wall, and it's art that she likes, and it looks like he's like ripped some pages out of some books and done it for her. But he doesn't show, and then she goes to look for him. But she doesn't find him. Instead, she finds Percy's dead uncle on the floor with a wrench next to his body, and Silas quivering in a toilet or a cupboard, I can't remember which one. Anyway, the point is that Percy's uncle is dead. Or is he? Is this just another illusion? Is it another con? Ooh, maybe he's still alive. And the World Beyond is now leading us down this path in which we're supposed to suspect that Silas is the one who killed him. And like I said previously, Silas was giving him dodgy looks throughout the episode because he's obviously jealous. And Silas has a history of being violent, which has been seen through his flashbacks, and we've seen it this episode when he lost it on the walker and ended up hurting Elton as well. So Silas is the number 1 suspect at the moment. And then that's the point where the episode just ends, and for the first time ever watching The World Beyond, I was annoyed it ended. I actually wanted to watch more, which is amazing, because normally I just can't wait for the show to end. This was the first time, since watching it, that I've actually been engaged and invested in it and wanted to find out what happens, and then the episode ends, and I was just like, oh, finally gets going, finally something interesting happens and it ends. And I'm hoping that next week's episode can build on this and take some momentum going forward with this ending. Hopefully it's not like the ending in which Percy was teased, and then the week after Percy arrives and he's just this nice guy, and the week previous there was a silhouette of a man who arrived at camp, and we thought, oh, maybe he could be a dangerous guy. That's what the impression they were trying to give you, and when in fact it just turns out to be Percy. So I'm hoping that this sort of ending doesn't fall flat like that one did, but we'll just wait and see. For the record, I don't think that Silas killed Percy's uncle. I just think that's the easy answer. I think The Walking Dead, The World Beyond is trying to misdirect us and lead us down that route. I think there's something else in play. I mean, why would he kill his uncle unless his uncle was trying to protect Percy? But even then, I don't know. I mean, Silas has a history of violence, but it's alluded that his dad done something bad, and that's the reason why he killed him. It's not as if he just randomly killed him, so I don't think he would just pick up a wrench and smash someone's guy's head in because he's jealous. So I don't know, I don't think it was him. I just think that's The World Beyond's trying to set that up and trying to lead us down that path when it's something else. I mean, maybe I'm giving the show too much credit at this point. Maybe it is just Silas, and maybe he is just this crazy, loner kid, which I don't really like, because that's so cliche, isn't it? There's so many shows in which the loner in the class who no one likes turns out to be the murderer, and it's like, it's been done to death before. I don't really need to see that again, so I'm hoping that's not the case. As for the rest of the episode, it was pretty average. It wasn't great. The first 15 minutes, characters were just sitting around drinking, and it was pretty dull. Then we had them go to this fuel cache place, which again wasn't great. It wasn't really until the last sort of 10 minutes that things actually picked up and the episode became interesting. So to summarise, I felt the same way about most of this episode as I have done the rest of the season. You know, it wasn't great, dialogue is still bad, characters still are irritating, there's not a lot happening still. It was still the world beyond, apart from the last sort of 10 minutes when something actually happened that I was like, wow, finally this is getting interesting. Finally there's a bit of mystery, a bit of intrigue, you know, something to keep me watching. But, you know, it still wasn't a great episode. I mean, none of them have been. I mean, it's one of the better ones of this season. But, yeah, it's still not great, but it's an improvement. And for the first time, I actually look forward to seeing how they, you know, what they do next week. Maybe I won't be thinking that when I watch it, but maybe I won't. Maybe I'll regret that when it turns out to be boring as hell. But hey, you know, the ending was good. The ending was good. I like the flashbacks for once. This is a improvement on all the other ones. I mean, it's still bad. It's still got all the same problems, but fingers crossed. Fingers crossed this Silas, you know, the death of Percy's uncle doesn't just turn out to be something cringeworthy or something stupid. Hopefully something comes of it. Hopefully characters fight and argue and interesting stuff happens and, you know, characters become paranoid, blah, blah, blah. So we'll see. I mean, from the Well Beyond standards, it was one of the best episodes this season, but I mean, you know, from any other standards, it was just okay. But hey, at least I had some positive points this week, so that's good. Hopefully things improve next week. Hopefully it can make good on this ending and give a solid episode next week. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts below. Did you enjoy this episode? Did you dislike it? Whatever your thoughts are, let me know. And I shall see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.